Hello, today I'll read Leviticus chapter 23. In the last part of chapter 22, it was about giving a gift to the Lord without defect. Or if you want to give a gift to the Lord or in the name of the Lord, you must not you must give from your heart and not things that are you don't want to anymore, or something like you must put price on them. May the God help us to have a good thinking and attitude on that. Now let's read the next chapter, chapter 23. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, these are my appointed feasts, the appointed feasts of the Lord, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies. There are 6 days. First, There are 6 days when you may work, but in the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a day of sacred assembly. What that means? Sacred assembly, I think, is a gathering of a community. Like in our churches, you are not to do any work wherever you live. It is a Sabbath to the Lord. Don't work. These are the Lord's appointed feasts, the sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at their appointed times. The Lord's Passover, begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. On the 15th day of that month, the Lord's feast of unleavened bread begins. For 7 days you must eat bread made without yeast. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22. Bread without yeast. It was very interesting. We will see that even what you eat, your menu, it is part like offering to the Lord, and these are some rules on it, on that too, on the menu. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly. And do not regular work. Don't work. For the 7 days, present an offering made to the Lord by fire. Offering. 2 And on the seventh day, hold a sacred assembly. In 22 of the first month. It's like a new, it's not a new year, it's the Passover. Assembly. Don't work. Another feast. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I am going to give you, and you reap its harvest, bring to the priest a sheaf of the first grain or you harvest." Fruits. A sheaf. I don't know what that means. A sheaf. A part. A sheaf of the first grain. First grain. You harvest. He is to wave the sheaf before the Lord. So it will be accepted on your behalf. The priest on your behalf. The priest is to wave it on the day after the Sabbath. So the Sabbath it was day after. I mean in Sunday. On the day you wave the sheaf, you must because Saturday it was the Sabbath. You must sacrifice as a burnt offering to the Lord a lamb. Sacrifice a lamb, 1 year old, a year old, without defect, together with its grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering made to the Lord by fire. A pleasing aroma and its drink offering of a quarter of a hin of wine. You must not eat any bread or roasted or new grain. No. Don't eat bread, roasted or new grain, until the very day you bring this offering to your God. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. Okay, next feast, fourth. From the day after the Sabbath, the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. Yeah, I mean the Sunday, that Sunday. Count off 7 full weeks. Count off 50 days. Up to the day after the 7th Sabbath. And then present an offering of new grain to the Lord. From wherever you live, bring 2 loaves made of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour, baked, very important, with yeast. Wow. On the Sabbath, not Sabbath, the feasts were without yeast. But look at this feast, but because it is a different one, they were allowed to eat. Not just it was a command to eat bread with yeast, baked with yeast, as a wave offering of first fruits to the Lord. So wave offering. It was waving offering. Present with this bread 7 male lambs, each 1 year old and without defect. One plus 1 young bull, 1 young bull, and 2 rams, plus 2 rams. There will be a burnt offering. Burnt to the Lord, together with their grain offering. And drink offering. An offering made by fire. An aroma pleasing for a fellowship offering. No, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Sorry, it was another line. Then sacrifice 1 male goat. Part 2. Male goat for a sin offering. And 2 lambs, each a year old. For a fellowship offering. The price is to wave the 2 lambs before the Lord as a wave offering. together with the bread of the first fruits, a real bread with yeast. They are a sacred offering to the Lord for the priest. On that same day you are to proclaim a sacred assembly. And do not regular work. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edge of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Leave them for the poor and the alien. Mercy. I am the Lord your God. The mercy is a command from the God for the Israelites. The Lord said that another feast, the fifth. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, you are to have a day of rest. A sacred assembly commemorated with trumpet blasts. Wow. So this is a trumpet, feast of trumpets. Do not regular work. I mean, don't work. But present an offering made to the Lord by fire. And the sixth one. The Lord said to Moses, the 10th day of this 7th month is the day of atonement. Hold a sacred assembly and deny yourselves, and present an offering made to the Lord by fire. Do not work on that day, because it is the day of atonement, when atonement is made for you before the Lord your God. Anyone who does not deny himself on that day must be cut off from his people. I will destroy from among his people anyone who does any work on that day. You shall do not work at all. Don't work. Punishment. Death. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. It is a Sabbath of rest for you, and you must deny yourselves. From the evening on the 9th day of the month until the following evening, you are to observe your Sabbath. I think in the 10th. evening. And the last one, the last feast. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the Lord's feast of tabernacles begins, and it lasts for 7 days. The first day is a sacred assembly. Do not regular work. For 7 days, sacred assembly. Don't work. For 7 days, 16th, 7th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, and 22. For 7 days present offerings made to the Lord by fire. And on the 8th day, hold a sacred assembly. 22. And present an offering made to the Lord by fire. Yeah, every day too, I think. Yeah. It is the closing assembly. Do not regular work. These are the Lord's appointed feasts, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies for bringing offerings made to the Lord by fire. The burnt offerings and grain offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings required for each day. These offerings are in addition to those for the Lord's Sabbaths, and in addition to your gifts and whatever you have vowed, and all the free will offerings you give to the Lord. So beginning with the 15th day of the 7th month, after you have gathered the crops of the land, celebrate the festival to the Lord for 7 days. The first day is a day of rest, sacred assembly, don't work, a day of rest. And the 8th day also is the day of rest. On the first day you are to take choice fruits from the trees. In the 15th or at the 7th month, choice fruit from the trees, and palm fronds, palm fronds, I don't know what it fronds, leafy branches, and poplars. And rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. Celebrate this as a festival to the Lord for 7 days each year. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. celebrated in the seventh day, in the seventh month, leaving booths for 7 days. I mean, leaving feast of tabernacle. Live in booths for 7 days. All native-born Israelites are to live in booths. So your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of Egypt. Booths like tents, or tabernacle, tents. Live in booths. Tent. So your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses announced to the Israelites the appointed feasts to the Lord, of the Lord. That was the chapter. Very interesting, feasts, and it was the first. It was the Sabbath, the most common, and then another 6 feasts in the chosen date. Each of them. That was the chapter. May the God bless me, protect me, and delight me. What are those for? Is to remember, to rememorize, to live in the present what God has made to you. I mean, like you are celebrate the death of the God, the revival of the God, of the Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And because God cannot be dead, He cannot die. He is the life. But Jesus Christ died because it was in a shape of in the body of a man kind, a humankind, and we celebrate that, and we celebrate the born of the Jesus Christ. That was the chapter. May the God bless me, protect me, and delight me in the next chapter too. And if you want, you will see me there too. There were lots of rules, and rules are very nice, very important. It's a program. It's a plan for each day of those feasts, and Okay, bye. God bless you all, and goodbye. May the God enlighten me in the next chapter.